that transpired this week, Bernard Parker, his comment. So how's the relationship and what's your response, what we saw, especially on social media?
Simtho, firstly, let me state the following. I think if you look at the entire podcast with Mazola, you would see that there was very little that Bernard said that was malicious. Okay, I believe that Super Journo, as a good journalist, led him down certain pathways. Sadly, nothing positive about a wonderful career that Bernard has had as a football player. But let me rewind. Bernard went to Europe in January 2009. He joined Red Star Belgrade from Thanda Royal Zulu. He was a youngster. Red Star were European Cup winners. They were a big club in Serbia. Unfortunately, experienced financial problems, as clubs often do in that part of the world, depending on ownership. And they failed to pay the second installment to Thanda Royal Zulu of the transfer fee. We then managed to secure his clearance because we knew there was interest from FC Twente in the top division in Holland. I had a very good relationship with Aldo van der Laan, the president at the time, who, by the way, owns a wine farm in South Africa. Wonderful human being. And both him and Steve McLaren absolutely love Bernard. So Bernard joined FC Twente in the 2009-2010 season. Won the league with Steve McLaren. As things happen, McLaren moved on to Wolfsburg. FC Twente sold a number of their players. They then employed Michel Prudhomme as their new coach, and Bernard fell out of favour. 6 months, hardly touched a ball. So we then loaned him in January 2011 to Panathinaikos in the Greek Super League. Again, unfortunately, he got the game time that we wanted him to get, because that was the whole idea. Unfortunate, and by the way, the gentleman that did the deal is still an associate of mine, Paskalis Tuntouris, Pro Sport Greece, looks after Kostas Tsimikas. So Panathinaikos were relegated. They couldn't afford to make an offer to FC Twente. At the time, you must understand this, Bernard said something, that there were so many teams in Europe. He felt that we should have used our network. People have the misconception about Europe. There are only a handful of teams that can afford to pay certain wages. Okay? Kaizer Chiefs, by the way, we had signed a contract with Chiefs prior to Bernard leaving, on the basis that if Bernard didn't move to Europe, he would have played for Chiefs. He moved to Europe, so the contract became null and void. So it was logical to offer Bernard back to Kaizer Chiefs.
When he comes back.
When he comes back to South Africa. We tried to market him in Europe. There were no takers. Unfortunately, what Chiefs offered was more than twice the best offer we could get from Europe. Okay. Let me also tell you, we worked extremely hard to secure Bernard's free clearance from FC Twente. And they, because of our relationship with the club, they released him. Chiefs signed him. Bernard said it was a business decision because we wanted Musona to go into Europe. Let me clear the air. We never did the Knowledge Musona deal to Europe. It was done by Rob Moore. Rob Moore did the club to club. I stepped in after the deal was done. Bernard signed with Chiefs at the beginning of July. Knowledge Musona signed with Hoffenheim at the end of July. So there was an overlap of a month where both players were at the same club. Okay. Was it a good business decision? I believe it was. Bernard had 11 fantastic years with Kaizer Chiefs. He broke all sorts of records. He was an iconic player for Bafana Bafana. He built a brand, the Bernard Parker brand, Die Hond, with that famous celebration, was iconic in South African football. I get goosebumps when I think of it. And when Bernard's career was coming to an end, 36 years old, he had a fantastic career. My advice to him a year before the contract ended, my advice to him was, Bernard, you want to take up coaching. You have a great brand. Build that brand as a legend. You can't have one foot in as a footballer and another foot in as a football coach. Mark van Heerden did the same thing. He gave up playing and now he's coaching as an assistant coach at Sekhukhune, and we advised him to do that. Unfortunately, where Bernard is saying that we never kept him in the loop, whoever wants to speak to Kaizer Chiefs and Bobby Motong in particular will tell you that I spoke to Chiefs on a regular basis, and I gave Bernard the feedback on a regular basis. Chiefs were not interested in signing him again as a player. Bernard, if he wants to be honest, will tell you that his heart still was in the playing game. He wanted to play football.
Yeah.
Even though he wanted to coach, he wanted to play football. And therefore, when he came back from his so-called holiday, there wasn't an opportunity at Chiefs. We discussed this, and I said to him, Gavin Hunt worked with you at Chiefs. Let me speak to Gavin. Start training. Don't go for a trial. Start training at SuperSport so that while we talk to clubs, at least you are doing pre-season training. Gavin obliged. Gavin wanted to sign Bernard, but there were problems with management. There was a difference in opinion. It never happened. We in the interim had spoken to every single club in South Africa, including Tim Sukazi at TS Galaxy. But if I tell you that Bernard was one of the highest paid players in South Africa, so it was our job to try and get him a deal that, yes, obviously he wasn't going to get what he was being paid at Chiefs, but at least was in line with what we believed Bernard Parker's value was. He got frustrated, there's no doubt about it, and he did the deal by himself with Tim Sukazi. He said I was infuriated. Not true. Not true. I was disappointed. We had been together for 16 years. But infuriated, not. In actual fact, every single year, on the 16th of March, which is his birthday, it's my eldest grandson's birthday, Dylan. Dylan and Bernard Parker share wishes. And who do they use to share wishes? Me. I've got on my phone here, which I've shown you.
Yeah, you've sent me the screenshot.
On the 16th of March, 2025, Bernard and I exchanged wonderful messages. Hardly the relationship that is painted of a football player who has dumped his agent. I don't mind being dumped. The truth is, it was never like that. He never went on trial at SuperSport, and I thought Bernard was worth more than what he was offered by the clubs that showed an interest in him.
Yeah.
Okay. The fact that he did the deal at TS Galaxy has ended up beautifully for him because he's now coaching.
Yeah.
And I can see Bernard as a top-class football coach because he's an intelligent man with great leadership skills.
Yeah.
What I'd like to say, and I'd like to send this message to Bernard, my parting words.
With Bernard.
Yes. I will always love and respect you and your beautiful family. You have been an important part of my life. I've always regarded you as a top-class professional and a gentleman. My feelings towards you have not changed and never will, Bernard. I'm truly sorry that you feel the way you do, and I recognize there may be deeper reasons for the emotions behind your words. My advice from the heart is this: release any hurt, disappointment, or anger that you may still carry. You deserve a life filled with peace and joy. You've achieved more as a footballer, husband, father, and South African role model than most could dream in a lifetime. Stay blessed. Die Hond, always in my heart.
The Hond.
Die Hond.
Yeah. We'll try and get hold of
In
Bernard
actual
Parker.
fact, I would dearly love to get Bernard on the show.
No, have a chat
don't
with Bernard.
forget,
Yeah.
as a FIFA agent, and I want you to listen to this, as a FIFA agent, Simtho,
Yeah.
can only sign a 2-year contract.
Yep.
Bernard re-signed with ProSport 8
Yes.
times.
Yep.
Hardly a relationship that you would say wasn't strong.
Yeah.
He spent 11 years at Chiefs. Unbelievable. He might have felt a little bit saddened by the way it ended.
Yeah.
But don't lose what you've achieved. And don't lose your love for the club that gave you the platform to achieve what you've achieved. And finally, I want him to remember this. The last year he was at Chiefs, he took incredible amount of abuse from a certain section of supporters.
Yeah.
This man sitting behind the microphone here on social media defended him and was abused for that defense.
True.
And I will continue to defend him to this day because he never deserved that abuse.
Yeah, he's a good player.
So what I'm saying to you, Super Journo, this is a message to you. You're a top-class journalist and you led Bernard down a path which created interest.
Yeah.
I will lead Bernard down another path when him and I speak on this show.
Yeah.
Another path which celebrates the incredible career of Bernard Parker, the footballer.
Mr. Makaab, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks. Thank you.
And of being open about these issues.
Yeah,
as well.
but thank you for giving me the platform to tell you my side of the story.
Yeah, but I think as well it will be an honest thing to bring Bernard
of
Parker
course,
as well
and
speak
I have
to
no
him
doubt
and give him an opportunity.
I have no doubt Bernard will sit here and talk to us. No doubt in my mind.
Let's give him a call next week, Monday.
We definitely will.
Bernard, if you're listening, and I know you're listening to this show, this is Extra Time on Gaga CFM, probably brought to you by Hollywood Bet. Would like to have a chat on Monday. We'll make sure to facilitate that.